Come on, we have a seat. Let's go. Like herding cats here, boy.
Cats, right?
Well, they're getting quiet anyway.
I know, it's at least getting a little quiet. All you guys getting coffee and donuts, come on in. AJ, come on. I know. Save some. Henry, Wayne. Okay, roll call. All right. Jeez. We'll have to build this in when we have both meetings at one time. I know, I know. Okay. I don't think so. Man, oh man. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. We will do roll call.
I don't have everybody.
No.
Jamie, you might have to help me out on this. I don't have the new ones on the list.
Do it again. We were all here.
Okay, everybody, we're going to do roll call real quick. Chair Furr.
Here.
Member Shuham. Member Mateo Bowen. Member Mike Ryan. Member Dunn. Member Mead. Here. Member AJ Ryan. Here. Member Newton. Here. Member Glassman. Member Bright Cruz. Here. Member Geller.
Yeah.
All right, now I have new ones. All right. Member Horland. Member Rydell. And Member Cagliano. Okay, I'll get the roll call fixed now for next meeting. Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Yes, welcome to the new members. Okay, with that, we'll go to public comment. And if you would like to speak again, you can. If not, we've definitely heard you earlier. But Jim Lasky first, if you'd like to speak again. Followed by Debbie Green and Richard. It's like a twofer today.
6 minutes.
There you go. How about 5 extra minutes? All right, what I got in my hand here is a micrometer. I want to talk about the particle size of a landfill. Okay? We have no idea, okay, how much microplastics and other interesting substances are flying off the top of that landfill. You know, it's within a hurricane evacuation zone. You can expect high winds. And if you just looked at the weather in the last 2 months and the wind blowing for days at a time, I mean, you've all been to high altitudes on, let's say, out west skiing, that sort of thing. You know what the wind is from the base and the wind is at the top of the mountain? Well, that's what you get with any mountain. Not only that, the particles are not consistent enough to be compactable. You can't build any kind of a structure on top of garbage. Okay, there's too much differential settlement going on there. The particles have got to be fit together in order to be compacted and bombed, right? You don't have that in garbage, okay? You're really breathing a lot of bad stuff for substitution of another word, but it is bad news. Recently, we saw a movie in Southwest Ranches on Raw Plastic People. They had a real neurosurgeon from the University of Miami Lennar School of Medicine actually show you a piece of plastic embedded in a person's brain. I could go on and on about all the little things, but you all could watch the YouTube, all right? We're all plastics people, and then let's have this discussion again. We need to secure that landfill with some kind of geoplastics in order to restrain some of the particles coming up, not yard waste, and dirt's not going to do it. And just the process of hauling up and dumping it, or even hauling it down the road is still dangerous. So please look into that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Debbie Green? Act 2.
Good morning. Well, I want to thank you all for clarifying the whole survey because I wasn't sure if there was a specific pool. So when I received the survey, I didn't forward it on to everybody that I knew because I thought it was a specific population. So I really appreciate that, and we'll make sure to get this out to everyone that we know. I just wanted to, first off, let everyone know there's an Introduction to Zero Waste class by Zero Waste USA that's on Wednesday, January 29th. It's a 4-hour online class about the principles and planning techniques for zero waste. I took that class way back when all of this kind of started. If any of you haven't taken the class, it's well worth those 4 hours. And if anyone from this committee would like any help in organizing, even for this executive committee, maybe we can do that. Race to Zero Waste and Broward Clean Air and Zero Waste USA. They're planning a zero waste forum in 2025, which will be in April, March 30th to April 3rd. So we invite all of you. I don't know if it's still open to speakers, but I know they were looking for that at that time. And I'll say thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Debbie. Richard Renchemachar.
You're getting it.
I'm getting it.
Okay, so I wanted to pick up where I left off. The Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternatives, Gaia, environmental justice principles for fast action on waste and methane provide a set of standards and criteria for decision-making processes in the field. We're trying to bring solutions to help you make the right decisions for us. Eligible projects may include, but are not limited to, organics waste reduction programs, and examples of that include strengthening composting goals and requirements, modeling improving systems and infrastructure for organics collection and composting, developing and sustaining community compost programs, accelerating access, building out food waste infrastructure for collection and processing systems, improving systems and infrastructure for edible food recovery, developing a communications campaign and amplifying local organics waste reduction work, and raising awareness and cross-sector engagement. Another program would be landfill pollution reduction, and that would include strengthening and updating landfill performance standards and emissions guidelines, modeling improving landfill design, operations and monitoring, and methane recovery systems, developing a communications campaign around local landfill pollution and impacts, and raising awareness and cross-sector engagement. And lastly, advocacy working on local, state, federal climate action planning. Examples of that would be promoting waste sector action as a strategy for local or state climate goals, engaging in new federal regulatory processes, identifying and addressing areas of need, research, data monitoring, etc., building, strengthening narrative, framing, linking waste and climate, and raising awareness and cross-sector engagement. I'll be more than happy to discuss these things with you separately if you'd like, or we can set up a workshop.
Thank you, Richard. And that ends public comments. With that, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes for November 22nd, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Okay, the executive director report, we kind of already done. We've already done that. Is there anything to add?
Yeah, I want to open up for some questions. All right, so we didn't get through this in the financial update, but is there any questions with regards to the financial package that was sent? With regards to the financial package that was sent out for update, especially after last month's comments with regards to making sure it was part of the package, is there any comments with regards to the financial package? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Todd, thank you for sending that over. I did see that there is a proposition to hire someone. When would we be bringing that person on?
We are going to start talking, now that we know where we are after the first of the year, we were talking about bringing on some staff. So we are going to start looking at that starting in January.
Okay, thank you.
And that is budgeted.
I saw.
Okay, I guess next part, communication outreach up there. Haley, if you can kind of get up there. Also, Clay, if you can bring up the presentation, or actually, why don't we start with the video? First and foremost, thank you, Member Dunn. I think this is with regards to the video that you did with regards to the survey. And thank you for that. But here we go with and this is part of the eco talks that I mentioned at the last meeting. All right, good job. And there are a number of these that we're developing right now. I believe we didn't put yours up, sorry. But we're working on it. And in addition to that, sorry. Okay. Okay. But with regard to that, we do have the media kit out. We are trying to get the word out. We are trying to develop the eco talks and the library on the website and the different documents, etc. As I said the last meeting, the website is version 1.0. We've already have comments for adjustments for version 2.0 that we are start working towards after the first year. I do have Conceptual Communications, Haley, with us today to go through the survey and the online survey. They put together a real quick presentation that we can go through and ask more detailed questions with regards to the surveys. So with that, Haley, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Is this already on? Okay. Can you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So I want to give a quick update on the Survey 1 distribution. The survey links and the QR codes were sent out in English, Spanish, and Creole to the 28 member cities and Broward County. So this is your PIOs, your communications teams, and we've asked them and followed up and reminded them to please put them in each city's newsletter, on their social media accounts for your residents. We also distributed it to 35 plus community partners, including local churches, 54 media outlets, and 6 targeted zip codes received digital geofencing ads. So I'm so thrilled, Member Dunn, that somebody in your community did receive the ads. We also sent it out to 157 of the Solid Waste Authority's email subscribers. And as of this morning, we're at 391 responses. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is an example of the public outreach toolkit that went out. So you can see that on the left side, those are the social media posts, videos, graphics. On the right side is the flyers. The toolkits also included website and newsletter copy and imagery, the media release, the QR codes. And again, all these items were available in English, Spanish, and Creole. Next slide, please. And next steps for distribution. So Survey 1 closes December 31st, and the results will be available in early January 2025. Next, the Commercial Business Survey and Resident Survey number 2 will be in development. And Resident Survey number 2 is also going to be conducted via phone polling. And again, these surveys will be sent to all the cities, the county, our media and community partners, in all 3 languages.
All right, any questions with regards to the surveys? And Steve, obviously we can work through that, but.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Haley. I wanted to save this comment and to further clarify what Member Bright Cruz had said. We did not receive the survey and the media packet. I received it personally the other day. So what I want to make sure is we don't know whether it was a large file and got stuck in our firewall. We do not in the city of Plantation have a designated PIO or communications person. So I think in further communication to the members also is to ensure that you're asking us to follow up with staff, because that was not in that last email. And I actually reached out to our ACA and said, I haven't seen anything on our social media, because we had not received it. So I want to make sure that while it's great that we have over 300 surveys, there should be much more response at this point. So I just want to make sure that we're really clarifying to all the member cities.
Understood.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. That helps a lot to understand. My concern, which I voiced earlier, let me just kind of reiterate so you're here to maybe address it a little bit, is that we have a good representation of the entire county. I appreciate that certain zip codes were highlighted. I'm not sure exactly why that was done. Maybe we could talk about that a little bit so I understand that. I like that it's directed. Don't misunderstand me. I like that. But is that going to skew the final results because we've highlighted certain areas and not others? That's what concerns me. And I definitely, when we do survey 2, are we going to do this again where we're going to target certain zip codes and not others? I want to understand that. I'm not against, addressing those zip codes, but I have a concern when it comes to where we're selecting some and not selecting others.
With regards to the second survey, we will have that discussion with regards to those 600 responses, and you're going to be able to give input on how we distribute that. But the idea is, especially because that's a phone survey, that can be a little bit more involved because we can ask back and forth type questions for a short period of time.
If I may, Member Bright Cruz, in the last meeting, we kind of spoke a little bit about it, and I shared my concern with the focus group. When you look at the folks who showed up at the focus group, they did not look like me. They were clearly represented from cities with a higher income bracket that were not people of color. And so the 6 zip codes are the 6 zip codes in Broward County with the highest unemployment rate. And these 6 zip codes include 12 of the 28 cities. And so I recommended that in addition to the traditional distribution through media, through PIO, through community-based organizations that serve the entire county, that it might be wise for us to also have a campaign for the hard-to-reach population. The population who are more concerned about paying their rent and paying for food and paying for insulin than to be concerned about how the garbage is disposed of. Because in households like that, that's usually at the very bottom of the list. And so the young girl who so excitedly posted in the chat to me that, oh my gosh, Commissioner, I saw this, is a young girl from an under-resourced family who speaks Creole. And if it were not for the targeted effort to reach this household, perhaps she never would have had the opportunity to let her voice be heard.
Right, and I fully support that. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I fully support that, and I admire the work and appreciate the work and effort that went in that to make sure that we reach that community. I support that 100%. Okay. I just want to make sure that when we get our results, that they are representative of the county. That's my concern. Okay.
Josh?
I know, Member Dunn, you clapped when you heard the number. I was a little disappointed by the number of responses. Candidly, I think no. I know, and I made it a point in my city. If you look at the Facebook page, and here's why. And Member Mateo Bone as well. We have I hate to say we'll call them bloggers, internet news sites, things of that nature, whatever you want to call them. I think we all have those in our city. But for example, in Member Mateo Bone's city, in my city, we got it in the hands of an internet news source. And I had called before I came to the meeting, and that article for both of our cities had thousands of clicks. So I was really surprised that maybe it was just clickbait and it linked. And if you look on the Facebook page, it actually loops in that article. I'm sure you know it on the Facebook page. It loops it in for one of these news sources. So I was just a little disappointed by that because I made it a big point, understanding it went out a week ago, to at least in my city, to try to push that. So that was and I know we all are doing that, and it's very hard to get people to actually do the survey. The other thing I will say, it did hit up in my Google notifications. So I think we all know you can, whether it's your name or your city or an important issue, you can get Google notifications. That tap into article, Nancy, popped up in that, specifically talking about, waste issues in Broward. So that's actually a good thing that we're at least getting people. But I think, to Member Dunn's point, that's somebody that goes into their Google settings and is looking to get a survey, as opposed to a subsection of the community that is not even remotely thinking about waste or anything like that. So I do support the effort of the language efforts and the focus of that. I just would love to be a think tank, and I think we all really need to, in our own streams of media, push that out as much as we can to get to that number, because I was really hoping we had met that number in a week, Todd. But I guess it's not sexy enough to do a survey. So I wanted to say thank you, and understood, but maybe some of those non-traditional, Todd, I saw your media list, some of the non-traditional media things that we all have in our own cities that he wouldn't have access to, not the PIOs and the newspapers, but maybe, I hate to say it like that, maybe the bloggers, the internet bloggers, people engage in those capacities too. Thank you.
If I may make a recommendation, Mr. Chair, especially for those who have pockets of underserved community members, right? Or not, just for the entire county, I suspect that this is going to take more of an active, hands-on type approach for this executive committee. So if we have folks, HOA presidents, the people that always show up to the commission meeting, I would suggest that we, as members of this committee, take a very active role of making sure that this survey gets into the hands of those individuals and have them take it, distribute it. And I intend to go to a lot of the committee HOA meetings and have people take out their phones and take the survey, because otherwise, we risk not. I mean, I think we should be able to do way more than 1,000.
Mike.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I think there are lessons that we're learning already here that are going to energize our education campaign. Yeah. And that is that we're going to have to spend real dollars. It's not going to be digital, just pushing out, hoping on influencers and everyone. We're going to have to spend real educational dollars, not what we budgeted to this point, but real dollars in order to get education out on what we're about. But more importantly, as we move forward on issues of contamination or what we're doing to on the different waste streams, is not, we're seeing already. This is very important. It's coming up in all these different places, and we got just under 400, right? And we have over 1 million people we need to get to. So I think what we take from this is obviously lessons that we are learning, right? How to get to HOAs, churches, faith-based groups, et cetera, and to populations that don't rely on this and not reading those. So as we move forward, I think we need to be contemplating what we are going to do and upfront a lot more money and effort to get boots on the ground. Thank you.
Henry.
Thank you, Chair. Stepping aside from the demographic conversation for a moment, there's a sizable number of the population out there that have been turned off from recycling. Either their cities have done recycling and now are not doing it, or they have been told that whatever goes in their recycling can is going straight to the landfill. There's a good number of people out there that do not believe that their goods are being recycled, and therefore they're not going to recycle it. Why bother? I think we need to address those specifically with specific answers about what we're going to do after we get the recycling up and running. Not right now, perhaps, but when we get the recycling rate up and running, where it's going to go, how it's going to work, and address them specifically.
Yeah, but I think, and to your point, I think the timing is important, because you want to start, until you know exactly what you're asking of them, you don't want to be saying, are you doing recycling? When someone was talking about 4 bins, like at an airport, if we're not talking about the specificity of that, we're a little early. So
I agree.
We have to have our act together first before we start asking them what to do. Nancy.
Thank you, Chair. I noticed that the deadline to submit surveys is December 31st.
We're going to adjust that.
Okay, perfect. Because to Member Mead's point, yes, people are shut off. We're in the holidays and people are just out. they are not thinking about taking a survey right now. So I think if we extend that deadline to maybe mid-January, when people start gradually coming back online, I think we'll probably have more of a higher response rate. I think that is why we probably have the 300 response rate, because everyone's just worried about the holidays, traveling, getting their homes in order for family to come in town.
Right.
So thank you.
Yeah.
And the team talked about that. So we are
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, any other thoughts, Scott?
Yeah, you're talking about the HOAs, the homeowner associations. I don't know about your cities, but we're not meeting for at least another month. And it's a perfect opportunity. But I think the biggest thing is this board and our committees, it's our responsibility to go out. I mean, we took on this job of doing this. So it's our job to go out to our HOAs and we need to go out. And I said it before, elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools. So we have to find, and it's going to take money, as Ryan said, that we're going to have to find, because you talk about the young girl that, found it on Facebook and was awesome about that. Not all kids go on Facebook looking for things like that, and they just pass on it. So we have to have an educational thing that these kids are going to want to look at and see and feel and touch. It can't be just words on a thing. It's got to be pictures. And some of them have to be actually shock and awe, of here's you use your knife and fork and your plastic cups, and then it's great to use, you throw in the garbage can, and here's what happens, floating down a river and things like that. That's how you get those kids to get that, oh my God, I need to do something about that at age 7, age 10, age 15. So I think we have to be really proactive, and I think we may have to move this back to even February for the residential survey that we have, because my homeowner associations don't meet till middle of January and in February. So if we're going to meet those and get those people excited about doing this, we really, I know it stinks because we're moving things back a little bit, but at the same time, I am beyond disappointed. Nothing that we've done, but that you want to reach 1,000 people, over 1 million people in Broward County, and we're going to think that's going to be great. We should be reaching 100,000 people and getting a survey. And we can do that by education through the younger kids, because I think they go home and talk to their parents too. So just something to think about.
And at some point, to that point, we may need to look at having an ex officio member from the school board in here, because that is going to be our. And I know a few are acting on our behalf on it, trying to get a few things done, but that is a contingent. I mean, that I think what's needed. Yeah. Or at least as an ex officio, something like that. Oh, you were
just briefly, that was actually what I was going to bring up in new business today. I've heard it sitting in the audience for the past year, right? I can say it now.
I will be bringing that up in just a minute. For new business?
No, the school board.
Oh.
That's, I just wanted I was going to wait on that, but you mentioned it.
Okay.
I know you've talked about it a lot, but I mean, there's seemingly people on the school board that will bite at the opportunity to come and sit with us.
For sure.
And a think tank. I was going to ask, what formally do we need to do as the executive committee to get that done?
Let me ask Jamie.
Well,
Is that good deflection?
It depends on how officially we want to do it. I mean, if we really want to have a true ex officio official member, we'd have to amend our documents. But we could certainly contact the school board and ask them to have a representative here to just be a liaison to the school board. And then we don't have to do anything. We can just ask them, and Todd could just do that now.
So can we maybe get consensus? And I was going to ask for this in new
Make a
business,
motion.
that Todd formally reaches out.
Yeah.
To invite formally,
I'm happy to reach out as well.
or you may.
I think,
So do I.
I think procedurally, we have to first get by the idea that we're not going to amend the ILA. Right? Let's just be,
Right.
Is everybody in agreement on that? Okay.
Yeah.
Then from there, I think it's a matter of putting together a formal invitation that's very clear, not a phone call. The board should vote on it. They should designate somebody who's got the responsibility. You don't want just a rotating person coming through, right? I think you're envisioning a permanent, albeit not a voting member, but somebody who's responsible for following this and being vested with it.
100%. And what I envision for the school board, just like all of us do at our respective city commissions, is somebody that is going to go to the school board and say, hey, I was at the solid waste, authority this month, and here's what's going on. And maybe that begets bigger engagement and more answers to a survey.
And I just add to that, I think as we look at that, we'll see other interested groups, for instance, Broward Workshop, right? You know, looking at the big corporate side of this, because until we can get a hold of the waste streams, I'll just use an example for Sunrise, the mall, the Panthers, you know, you are dealing with large hospitals, things like that. So there's a way to maybe expand that once we get that formal invitation out. Broward Workshop.
I look at more immediately, Member Ryan, as outreach. Because the reality is if a school board member looks at the superintendent and says, email this survey to every principal AP and circulate it amongst your environmental clubs or whatever club, it doesn't matter what economic background you're from or what you look like, you're going to see that at school, and the kids that want to care are going to care and engage. So that's why I intended for new business, but I guess we'll address it formally when we get there. But I'd like a formal invitation letter to go out.
No problem. FYI, and thank you to the Women League of Cities, Julie, all right there, has been very instrumental in getting us in front of the school board. We actually had a meeting a couple of weeks ago with regards to this and getting into the schools and having them participate. So we're hearing you loud and clear. It's taken almost 2 months to get the audience with the school board, but Julie, thank you for everything you've done and getting us in front of the school board, and we will be able to meet this request.
And the new superintendent, just so everybody knows, is an environmental science major and is very, very interested in what we're trying to do and very willing to work with us. So I think would you want to make a motion to do this? That's fine. Okay. Motion and a second to do a formal invitation to the school board to ask for a liaison or representative to attend our meetings.
Yeah, I think we'll work on the language of it, but I think the point and the spirit of it is to make sure that it is a permanent position, that the board is choosing somebody to be designated, vested with that, to be here, so that when they're not here, we know, but then they can go back, as you were saying, and say to the board, we need to deal with our organics. We need to deal with this. We need to, and now I'm that person responsible. So I think executive director can certainly start drafting, and the chair or vice chair, whoever, should sign that and make sure that's a formal invitation. Okay. And that's the motion.
Okay. We have motion and a second. All those in favor? Oh, sorry.
Member Ryan, Chair Ryan? Vice Chair? Okay. Vice Chair Ryan? I think you also mentioned the Broward Workshop. Do we want to do 2 letters? One to Broward Workshop and one to the board? Or do
Here's what I would suggest. Let's do one right now. Let's get this out. It's immediate. And then second, we'll start talking about additional groups and who represents. I throw that out there only because they do tend to pull together the CEOs of Broward County, who are big producers of benefits for our community, but also can help us on the issues of solid waste.
Nancy.
Thank you, Chair. A quick question for you. When will this initiative, or when will the executive director be presenting at the Climate Task Force? I think this is important as well, to get some of those members engaged.
The Broward County Climate?
Mm-hmm.
The next meeting is in February, I think. So that would be the next opportunity.
Okay. That I would love for that for us or someone to go to that meeting and present, because we do have folks outside of this board we have business there. We have so many different entities on that board. And I think that it would be a great way for us to continue pushing this initiative.
I agree. I know somebody who's there who can make that happen. Right. I know. I think she did. But that's doable. That's doable. Okay. Any other thoughts on this? This was all on survey. Anything else? The next thing we need to do is figure out meeting dates. No, we're not there yet. Meeting dates. Well, I've got this meeting dates for 25. Fourth Friday, or the room is actually.
Yeah. Let me go back. Okay. Take over here. Okay. So this room is available, but after we went through the reservation system the last few days, right? Consistently now, the only thing that's available for this room is the 3rd Friday of each month, which is what's in front of you right now. if the fourth Friday is not available anymore for this room, we could maybe determine another room. But as of right now, on a consistent basis for this room, after going through the reservation system yesterday, the third Friday of the month is what's available. There are 2 months, April and September, that all the Fridays are taken except maybe one. We can determine what would be the best course of action for those months going forward. But I just wanted to be able to get this in front of the team because, what is the direction?
All third Fridays, all third Fridays.
What if we do it a different day than Friday? Is it open,
I'd have to research that. but
What's that?
Thursday and Fridays.
not coming on a Friday, maybe a Thursday instead of a Friday if. this
That'll be a
room's
whole
open?
nother research.
Huh? What?
I think we want to stay.
There's so many other meetings on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Friday's good, okay. Our third Friday's okay with everybody? Anybody have a problem?
And we can always change.
If it had to, we can always. Okay. Okay, good. So this works for you for that? Okay, good. So, all good? Consensus? Very good, excellent.
And the only other thing was the master plan, the only other thing was the master plan, the final drafts we placed on the website, and we'll start placing those final master drafts later today.
Okay. All right, with that, I will go to nomination and election for chair. Yes.
The 2 months that aren't available on Thursday, third Friday, are we going to do an alternate on there, or we're not going to have a meeting for
No,
that
we're
one?
going to determine another meeting. We don't need it. Right. Right.
Yeah, just do that.
Okay,
Okay.
no problem. I just wanted to make sure this room, but we do have options. And by April, right, depending on how things go here, we might be talking about having out the final version of the master plan and how do we want to be able to present that. So that's why there's a little flex there.
Okay. All good. All right, with that, we're doing nomination for election of chair of the executive committee. Josh?
Anybody but Mike Ryan?
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any other nominations? Going once, going twice. Okay. Nominations, okay. All those in favor of closing nominations? Aye. Okay.
I accept, even though now it turns out you can make all the meetings. Very interesting how you pull that off. It shows an incredible vision, and it means you must be a hell of a chess player. Before that, though, I would again like to thank Member Ross for his role as chair of the executive committee. It was a lot of work, a lot of meetings, more so than the governing board. Thank you very much. And his incredible patience with my interruptions.
All those in favor of electing Mike Ryan as chair, say yes. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations again. All right, great. January 1st, you take over. Okay. SCS master plan.
We went through that. We went through that. It was an update on what you saw previously, that we are on track with the draft master plan for the end of February.
Any questions? Okay. County update on the Monarch Hill land use amendment. That is deferred till January 28th. Really nothing else on it. Any discussion? Okay. New old business. You took care of one already. School board. Carol? We did that.
Two brief comments. One, I just wanted to compliment everyone who is working on that white paper on task 9. I tried to read the whole thing. There is a lot of amazing information there. And to your point, Mayor, the detail on all of these systems and things like that, it's incredible how much there is for us to consider. And I think, in large part, that is what our consultants have to weed through. There is no way that this executive board could understand all of that to the level to make decisions. So they're going to have to come to us And I agree with your point. They need to come soon so we can figure it all out. But I just wanted to compliment the work that went into that paper. The other thing, as our chair mentioned, some of us were recently at the Southeast Florida Compact Climate Change Conference in Key West, and tons of great information. But one thing that there was lots of takeaways, but one thing I took away that was of concern that I wanted to mention to you, Todd, is when we talk about composting, a topic came up regarding the concern of composting and the relationship to PFAS concerns. So when the consultants come back to us with the composting component, which I am confident will be there, I want to make sure that they're prepared to address concerns with PFAS.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think we both heard about this, not only on the news, only a few weeks ago, talking about a lot of the farms in Maine and places having to close and go fallow because of sludge application with PFAS. It hasn't even been a mandate up to point. It hasn't even been on the radar, but it's something I think all of, that's part of disposal. That is, I mean, we're thinking just what we take out in the garbage. That's not all. That's not the only thing that has to get disposed of. So it's a big issue and one we're going to have to tackle. I don't know how much our consultants are working on that, but I think it needs to be. I mean, I know from the county's point of view, we're looking at what we're doing with biosolids and how we're going to be treating them from here on. I know Palm Beach does not want us to continue to do land application, if it's not totally treated. So those are things that we all have to worry about, all have to consider. So thank you for bringing that up. Anything else? I think that's our business for the day. Congratulations, Chair. You'll be here next time. That's great. Okay, motion to adjourn. Anybody?
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Have a great holiday, everybody.